diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. We Ric Flairing on her. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. Yeah, we Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairing, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. To the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness is really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. We Ric Flairing on her. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her. We Ric Flairing on her, flaring on her.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flair, son up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Scotty. Listen, happy Tuesday. All right, happy Tuesday. Listen, you're probably catching me. For the people on the East Coast, you probably just leaving work. For the people on the Central Time, you are still at work looking at that clock for about an hour like, yo, I can't wait to get off. But listen, I'm a little under the weather, so you might hear me scratch my throat. For any white person on here, it's going to be a weird noise. All right, all the black people know what I'm talking about when I say scratch my throat. Don't act like your mama, your grandmama, your daddy. Y'all probably do it. You know what it is. We all do it a little differently, but you might hear me scratch my throat a couple times because I am a little bit under the weather. So let's not play these games. All right, y'all know what it is. Okay, stop. Don't come for me. All right, listen. Before I get too far in this is what I want to say straight up. All right, off the rip. This is a conversation. Okay, I am not pushing one person or the other. I want to hear you guys' opinion. This is what this platform is all about, right? I'm gonna give you my opinion. Now, you know I'm gonna give you my opinion, but it's a conversation. At the end of the day, we're going to have a conversation of who is the better guy. Now, a lot of you guys, some of you guys are diehard Auburn fans, you know, and you have the insight. Some of y'all like, Scotty, I don't give two shits about Auburn. I'm a SWAC guy, HBCU guy, got it, right? But both aspects need to be talked about. Both aspects need to be discussed. So that's why this conversation is what is going on today. So that's why it's called the Battle for Auburn. All right, the Battle for Auburn. And we can't listen. At the end of the day, nobody can turn a blind eye that Deion is not a candidate for this job. All right. Call line is already open. 518-263-8124. 518-263-8124. I'm in a few things that I want to discuss before I answer any calls or anything like that. See, there we go already. All right, scratching my throat. But this is where I want to take it, right? I want to start it here. Right, because I want to show this is what Lane Kiffin has done the 3 years he's been at Ole Miss. All right, he's gone 5-5, 10-3, losing, lost the Sugar Bowl. He's currently 8-1 at Ole Miss. Has a big game coming up November 12th against Alabama. Now, great offensive mind. Okay, when he got hired by Alabama, turned that program around. They went from a traditional pro style offense, more spread style. Him and Sarkisian were kind of, you know, the masterminds behind taking Alabama out of the old and into the new. All right. He has never beaten Saban. So I don't really think there's a lot scaring Saban if if Auburn hires, you know, Lane Kiffin. Now, don't get me wrong. I always think Lane Kiffin's like, this might sound bad. I think Lane Kiffin is like, and I said it, I think he's like the watered down Kool-Aid version of Deion. Right? So if you ever seen the movie Dreamgirls, right? Once again, I'm black. I might have some white people on here. Too bad, so sad. Right? If you ever seen Dreamgirls, it's how the black people record the song and then how white people record the song, right? So it was like, you know, it's like got me a Cadillac. You know, they revamp black music. Elvis revamping black music. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's what I feel like Lane Kiffin is when it comes to Deion, because Lane Kiffin, but he's been doing it before Deion. Like, we got to call, not before, but just as a coach. You know, Lane Kiffin doesn't care what you think about him. Lane Kiffin's going to say what he wants to say. He's going to troll you. He's going to do all. Lane Kiffin is okay with himself. And for that, I always respect Lane Kiffin. He is okay to be Lane Kiffin. He is okay to talk his mess. He is okay to talk trash to whomever coach he wants to talk trash to. Now, granted, has he had some maturity issues as his coaching has come along? Absolutely. If you don't know, Lane Kiffin is Monty Kiffin's son, who kind of matriarched the Tampa 2 for the Buccaneers back in the day. That Monty Kiffin style, Tampa 2 style, him and Tony Dungy and all those guys. So you have that entrance to the coaching world and to the coaching status of Lane Kiffin. But he's come a long way from his time at Tennessee and the Oakland Raiders and things like that. He's come full circle. All right. Now, I don't know how many ain't too many Bama's get this many opportunities. Lane Kiffin has had more opportunities than I can count where Cat has lives. I mean, this dude, he just be failing up. All right. Just the Bama be failing up. I can't call it. I ain't never seen Bama's fail up, but his stop at FAU was a success. Now he's at Ole Miss being successful as well. So It is what it is. Now, breaking down Deion as well. 2020, 4-3 in the spring season. 2021 goes 11-2, loses the Celebration Bowl, and is currently 8-0. Their records are pretty similar. Now, the totality of what Lane has done is always going to overshadow the little that Deion has done. But in the small sample size that you get from Deion, it is impactful. Number 1 recruiting class in FCS. The best HBCU recruiting class ever, getting the number 1 player in the country to come to Jackson State and FCS program. In a short time frame, and a top 20 receiver to come to Jackson State. In a short time frame, Deion has done a lot and has changed and grown and flipped the brand of Jackson State and molded it to what it is now, which is a media powerhouse and juggernaut, right? So if I'm an alum of Auburn, if I'm an alum or a booster of Auburn, what am I willing to spend millions on, right? Is Lane Kiffin worth getting paid $8 to $10 million a year? I don't think listen, man, there's no shot towards Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin's a damn good ball coach. I think he's a damn good offensive mind. But at the end of the day, the question comes, who moves the needle? Who moves the needle? You know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is when you're thinking about making a change, when you're thinking about, going in a different direction, who moves the needle? And it's Deion Sanders by a landscape. Like, listen, if you hire Lane Kiffin today, there is no way that Alabama is shaking in their boots. It's no way. I don't care what you put behind Lane Kiffin. I don't care if you put an NIL deal behind Lane Kiffin. I don't give a damn what you say to Lane Kiffin. And don't get me wrong, once again, I like Lane Kiffin. I like him as a person. I think he's a dope individual. I always respect somebody who just same thing with Deion. I always respect people who speak what they feel. I'm allowed to judge it accordingly, but I always respect people who speak their mind, right? But hiring Lane Kiffin for Auburn University does not move the needle. It's just a solid. To me, it's a safe pick. It's a safe hire, right? Because if he goes, to me, he could be Michigan John Harbaugh, right? To where you're 9 or 10 wins, 8 to 9, 10 wins every year. You have a chance. You might be competitive. You might not be competitive. You know what I'm saying? Into the college football playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That to me is where that's the ceiling. If I'm being honest, that's the ceiling for Lane Kiffin in the SEC with Auburn. That's the ceiling. 10 wins. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a top 10 recruiting class every once in a while. Maybe a top 10 recruiting class, maybe a top 5 every once in a while. Like, that to me is what you get from Lane Kiffin. And that's not bad, right? That's not bad, but it doesn't move the needle. For me, you add Deion Sanders to Auburn University, listen, I don't give a damn what you're talking about. Nick Saban has to respect that move. Has to respect that move. And people are like, oh, Scotty, why you keep talking about Nick Saban? He's the standard. Nick Saban is the freaking standard. You know what I'm saying? He is the GOAT of this thing. He is the Jesus Christ of power football, right? You go there, he washes your sins away, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. If you see what Deion has done without the resources, without the money, without a lot of support from administration, and still being able to put a damn good squad on the field and play at a high level, I can only imagine what he could do with the resources they have at Auburn, with the money that alumni are willing to spend at the University of Auburn, and having a $90 million, if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Blue sent me something. Let me see. Auburn just built a $90 million facility for recruiting football players. You're not getting that at Jackson State. You're not getting that at any FCS program. You know what I'm saying? it's a game changer. And Deion Sanders definitely moves the needle when it comes to game changing acquisitions. And this is the thing, right? The hardest thing to me is when Nick Saban walks into a kid, and I said this when Jackson State, I said this when Deion sent his first touchdown at Jackson State. I said this. I said, recruiting is going to be Deion Sanders' bread and butter. Why? Because if you've never met Deion before, if you've never spoken to Deion, if you've never shaken, Deion just has a flair about him that you just like, man, this dude cool. Like you feel like you really meeting somebody like just transcendent. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has that way about him. And if you add that to what he's already doing and what he's already won, and man, it's just, I can't see how he doesn't dominate the recruiting landscape. Like, yeah, you're gonna go to Alabama because of the machine that Alabama is, but I mean, it just, man, it's crazy, bro. It's like Deion is just different. He's just different at the end of the day. So, like, I get it. What Auburn wants to do, it's a white boys club, it's a gentleman's club. You know what I'm saying? It's a country club of white men. You hire Lane Kiffin. You continue the white tradition of white hires. It is what it is. But to me, to move the needle and to change your program, like Jackson State had to make that jump to change their program, you got to go Deion Sanders in this. It's not even a question. Hey, Sean, coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, man. Scott, I appreciate you. Hold on, let me. I appreciate you taking the call. So last night I was on a call with Blue, and listening to all the fans, and it was mixed. Some of the calls, but a lot of the chat was prime heavy. Like there is a population of young people in the Auburn space that want this hire. They don't want, they think that their 1A and 1B is Prime and Kiffin. They know that with Kiffin, like you just said, there's a ceiling and then there's the expectation. But there's not the excitement that you get from the Prime effect. And they want the Prime effect because this hire will have to put Nick Saban on notice. For Auburn, it's not only top recruiting classes or, great records and things of that nature. It's about the school on the other side of the state in Tuscaloosa.
Facts.
It is about diminishing the dominance that Saban has on the state of Alabama and going back and beating him 5 times in a row. And, winning those recruiting wars. Those callers were adamant about winning one main objective, the recruiting battle, so that you can have the talent to scare the crap out of a Nick Saban-led team. So you're all the way right. Like, and then there was the portion of realists. Do these these talking heads, these boosters, these people with too much political prowess, are they willing to step back and say, let's do the Deion Sanders experiment and let it happen? Well, a person identified himself as a 75-year-old white man, a person you would think is a good old boy that would be totally against the Prime effect, said if he could muster up 30,000 people to stand in front of the AD's office and cheer, "We want Prime," that's what he wants because it threatens the power that is across the other side of the state.
Sean,
I don't know how many of them think like that. Others think like that, but bro, what you're saying is true. And it's that too. The racial line is thick there, but they are going hard for.
No, and the thing, listen, man, it's it's like when you see a great player at a bad NFL team, and you know what, like, okay, let me give a good example, like KG, right? When KG was playing for the Timberwolves and they weren't doing well, you just like, man, if KG could ever get a squad, what that could look like. To me, it's like, that's like I've said this before. Jackson State has a ceiling with Deion because it's only so much money and it's only so much success you can get. It just is what it is with that. With Auburn, there's an unlimited amount of resources with an unlimited amount of success, and that success puts you in another conversation of GOAT status, right? Because you can be the GOAT as a player, which we all know Prime is, but if you go to the Power 5 level and you beat Nick and you start being in contention for the college football playoffs, and you're taking your team from Auburn and you're winning the Iron Bowls and you're beating the Georgias, that takes you to another level of ascension as a coach and as a go-ahead figure. You know what I'm saying? So there's no shade towards Jackson that there's a ceiling. It's just natural. There's a ceiling there. But there is no ceiling when you go to an Auburn University or Power 5 program and have the unlimited resources which they have, as well as the machine that you have as a culture factor that Prime brings.
Facts. That was another, I'm glad you just said the other thing, culture. Now, that came up. It was said on the call, right, that I don't think that Auburn is ready for the culture, because what he brings with him is a dynamic that has never been seen before. And what will that look like? Is it fitting? A woman called in and asked that, says, I don't think that we're ready for that. Right? Because we got Cadillac Williams as an interim head coach, but they're two totally different people.
Facts.
Prime's more opposing. He's more opposing, and he has a status that others can't reach. Like these boosters that remain anonymous, like they can't say certain things to Coach Prime because he's beyond that. He's got money too. And then, you had some people respond to that like, you're absolutely right. It's an imposing figure, and we don't know if we can buy into that totally, but you got people that want that. Man, they want it. They don't care nothing about nothing else, bro. Look, they just fire their coach. They think Deion is the hottest thing moving. They want the hire to be correct because they know he's going to do one thing. He's going to go in the same living rooms with Nick Saban, and he'll be able to flip them, because it's something about that is way more important, bro. If they flip 50 people from going from Alabama to them, that is a win. Now he has to put the product on the field and win again. They just want to beat Alabama
consistently, and that's in everything, though, Sean. That's in recruiting. That's in the football field. That's the national headlines. They want to be talked about like Alabama has consistently been talked about for however long. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to look. Listen, like this is not like the bash of Jackson's. Like, it's not that. It's just saying that with every good thing, or with everybody, when everybody does something good at a job, they're looking for a promotion and a raise. And this is one hell of a raise, and this is one hell of a platform. And I'll be damn sure honest. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck. If Deion goes to Auburn, I would root for Auburn just because Deion is a black head coach in the SEC, and I hope he dominates everybody. I really do. I really would. No bullshit. Because for a conference that lives and breathes off of black players to have only 6 head coaches in their whole entire, frame of the SEC, and 2 of those guys were at Vanderbilt. I hope if he does go, I hope he goes up there and just shuts it all down. And I hope more black coaches get opportunities to coach at white Power 5 programs.
Facts. And that's the initiative. I know people don't want to hear this, but it's a reality, ladies and gentlemen. It has been in these bubbles now that this new AD Prime is going to get a serious look now. Will he get it is different, but he gets the look. And there is a Auburn fan base that's behind it. Now, Auburn has only one thing that Jackson State doesn't have in this whole entire conversation. Jackson State has a lot of advantages here, but it's one thing that they don't have, and that is the money to pay his staff.
Facts.
And ultimately, that is a goal. He's already made it clear. It is not about me. It is about my staff. His job ain't done yet at JSU. So listen, it's still got games to play. His job's not done, but the consideration is there. And the only thing that can prevent him from not getting this job at Auburn, if it's really meant for him, is him saying, no, I can't do this. And it's because of however the interview goes, and then the people that want to pull the strings, because the boosters, he ain't going to respond to them the way that they want him to respond. So that might be an influence there, because there's some negatives at Auburn that could impact him saying, nah, I'm straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real.
And that's why other people like the Georgia Tech move over the Auburn move, because he could be able to, politically, he could maneuver a lot better in that space. And there's a little bit lower expectation, right? They talked about what if he failed at Auburn? How would that look? And things of that nature. It's a whole lot of things the way for them. They have a lot of coaches that they're looking at, ladies and gentlemen. Prime is just one that a lot of fans are interested in, because they need that excitement, that same generating excitement at JSU. These people want what you have. You should feel blessed by that.
That's real. That's a good perspective. That's a good perspective.
That's all I'm gonna say, man. You feel blessed by that, bro. I'm gonna let you get on, man, with the show, man. I ain't gonna hold the line, no, bro.
Appreciate the call, Sean. Real talk. Appreciate the insight.
No problem.
9495 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, how you doing, Scotty?
What's goody?
How you doing, Scotty? This is Charles from San Antonio.
Talk to me.
I got one quick question for you, boss. Do you think that the Auburn boosters will give up power to Deion?
I think there's going to be no, because nobody who has millions and millions of dollars just wants to give up power, right? But I think there will be a coming to the minds, because, Deion doesn't. I think the one thing that is blessed by Deion is that he doesn't need it. I don't like to count nobody's pockets, you know what I'm saying? But Deion don't need the boosters' money. But he has to. I think Deion does very well with playing in politics, like moving in and out of rooms and dealing with white people and things like that. I think Deion does that really well, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if a booster just wants a signed jersey or a helmet. You know what I'm saying? From Deion Sanders, like let's not act. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of white Deion fans, so it is. We'll see. I think he can move pretty well between it. I really do.
Okay. Yeah. I was reading is like I guess the boosters at Auburn were big on telling the previous coaching staff on who to play, and I don't think that's gonna fly with Deion at all.
You know what? Listen, I think once you go up a level and there's a difference, like when people do business differently, you have to move differently. I can't be the same person in every room. You know what I'm saying? I can be as real, I can be as upfront, but I can't act the same. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was at a smaller meeting and I feel a certain way, I might have more power in that room. But as the powers that be get heavier, you can't act the same way. You can't move the same way. That's just naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like if you with your coworkers or you with your peers, you can't talk the same way you do with a CEO. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a mutual level of respect there that's given on both sides. So, but I think Deion knows how to do that really well.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Yes, sir. That's all I had. I appreciate you for asking my call. You have a blessing.
7126 coming to you. Hey, call.
All right. So my name. What's up? So I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. HBCU nightly. The analogy that if you're a sensational computer engineer, and Facebook offers you the bag in the mid-2000s. You take that joint quickly and run with it, right? The only way you don't do that is if you think you're so talented that you could make TikTok for yourself, you can make Instagram, you can make Twitter. That's the only way you don't take it, right? So my question to you is, how do you know for a fact that this is the ceiling that JSU has? What factors are in place that tells you without, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is the ceiling? This is the monetary cap. This is all Deion can build from a winning standpoint, from a moving up standpoint. How do you know that this is the ceiling?
I would throw it back to you. Where are you seeing? Where would you see more funding coming from? I'm just asking you now. Since you threw it to me, I'm gonna throw it to you because you already know my answer because I've already said it earlier in here. But I'm throwing it back to you. What funding are you getting from the state or other people that is going to compete with an Auburn University?
So one, moving up conferences, if a conference calls you, if conference calls JSU and decides to, a conference or pop-out conference with a substantial TV contract comes calling, then there's at least, depending on the conference, there's at least $30 to $60 million, and that's a stretch. Like I said, if you think you're so bold that you can build TikTok, you can build Instagram or whatever, then like I said, the ceiling, we're talking imaginary stuff, but that's a ceiling, right? So there's the relationships that Prime has, whatever boosters he could call to give money to a potential America's HBCU, if you want to call JSU that at this point in time, you can get money from that.
So let me ask you this: how do you compete? Right? How do you compete with programs that are receiving millions of dollars in TV money? They're receiving millions of dollars in student fees. They have an infrastructure that has been established for over 20, 30 years. I mean, like reinvigorating their infrastructure. How does Deion compete with that?
And well, that's what I'm saying. It takes a special person, like I said. So if you're going up against Facebook, you better be damn sure that you're smart enough, that you're talented enough to do it. What I'm saying is that I'm not saying that you're wrong. But what I'm saying is that if you're as talented as Deion is, then I think you have the cachet, or me, even as a person out on the outside looking in, I feel like you could look at Deion and say, if there's anybody that could take on Facebook, if there's anybody that could take on Google and build an alternative to it, it would be him, because he's that talented. And like I said, if you were to go and take the bag from Auburn or from whoever, you're not going to have control. But if you build it yourself, you can do whatever you want. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's a ceiling to what a man as talented as Deion can do.
Listen, it's not a ceiling to Deion. It's a ceiling to Jackson State. Like that's where we have the disconnect at. There's no ceiling to Deion. There's a ceiling to Jackson State, the institution. That's the ceiling. So if I'm hitched to see the thing that you keep saying Facebook and Twitter. Well, Twitter was its own individual. Like Twitter was Twitter. No, there was no comparing Twitter. And once again, I keep saying this, it's a privately owned company that can do whatever it wants. Jackson State has to go by standards outside of its own. Jackson State does not have full autonomy over Jackson State. That's what you're missing. You're talking about privately owned companies, right, that built themselves into publicly traded companies. So they had full autonomy over everything that they did. Deion Sanders does not have full autonomy over Jackson State. And now you're talking about bringing Jackson State up. Well, now you have to bring all your sports up. You have to bring everything up when you're talking about moving to a conference. So you got to bring basketball. You got to bring soccer. You got to bring tennis. You got to bring all these sports up that are only getting supported by football. And then you got to pay these fees. You got to deal with state politics that probably are going to try to hold you back because they probably won't allow your attendance to go up because, mind you, Ole Miss, Mississippi State got 30 to 20,000 students. So they get ongoing student fees. Jackson State has what? 6,000, 7,000, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 kids. There's a lot of infrastructure things that has to be. There's a lot of things that have to be changed, and Deion does not have the autonomy to say, okay, you know, when I get all this money, we gonna go from 6,000 to 20,000 students. Deion Sanders does not have that autonomy to do that. He doesn't have that.
Gotcha. I hear you.
You see what I'm saying?
That's valid. I hear you. I hear you.
But hey, man, I appreciate the call.
I appreciate it, though.
No, anytime. Hey, 2007 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
How you doing, Scotty? Chris from Los Angeles. In terms of your question, Auburn, if I'm Auburn, my first call would be to Deion for all the reasons that you laid out. I think he makes the most sense. He's the best hire. And I think from the cultural aspect, I think Deion has enough cachet. And also, I think Deion will be up to that particular challenge and want to kind of see if he can, well, we know he can move in those spaces, but it'll be up for that challenge of dealing with the boosters. And then just the appeal of playing on the biggest stage. And I think Auburn, it's not only Nick Saban that they have to worry about, but Kirby Smart at Georgia as well. And with the Auburn's recruiting base, they can dip into Atlanta metro area, Alabama, and they can dip into Florida, which is all prime areas that Coach Prime is very familiar with. But my question to you is, Scotty, if so, it'd be that Lane Kiffin gets the job at Auburn, does Ole Miss look to Deion to move up? Well, not move up, but move up north to Mississippi, to Ole Miss.
Listen.
Thanks.
Nah, appreciate the call. Listen, if I was Ole Miss, boy, that is a phone call I would make if I was Ole Miss. Because you literally, and the tough thing about it, and okay, Lane's doing damn good at Ole Miss, so it's not like you won't be getting a bad team, right? But man, I would make that call. I would kick those tires just to see what it looks like. Just to see what it looks like if we could possibly pull them over, because that's a step. That's now Jackson, like Mississippians, they don't like Ole Miss. So it would really bother a lot of Jacksonians that you know, he went from Jackson State to Ole Miss, you know what I'm saying? But it's something that I would kick the tires on. It's definitely something I would kick the tires on. That's a great point. 7301 coming to you. 7301 coming to you. Hey,
wow, what's up, Scotty, baby? What's up, baby?
What's good, boy?
Can't call it. This is a great topic, bro. You podding today, boy.
I'm trying.
I like it. So, man, just a real quick, man, I ain't gonna hold your lines. Man, I'm gonna take it away from J State because they be thinking that you talk about Deion leaving is hating and shit. So I'm gonna put it on SU. If he was at Southern, I'm like, is nothing else there. Unless you turn Southern into an Appalachian State program where we going to play the Michigans and Texas A&M, and outside of the HBC world, and we playing players and teams that's got the same type of athletes that we have.
Yeah.
Man, we doing this whole, we just kicking the bucket. We not advancing per se. And that's just looking bad as me as a coach on my resume per Deion, because I'm getting all these 5-star players, but I'm not playing nobody to elevate these kids or elevate myself as a coach.
Facts.
You know, so I'm like, if he stays at Southern, I'm like, okay, we got to beef up this schedule. Not saying we got to play Alabama, but we got to play some teams that's going to be competitive, that's going to push me and make me coach.
Absolutely.
Now, I do agree. Now Auburn, man, like I say, man, people don't understand. Like, Auburn probably been talking to, probably is real. They have been talking to Deion's agent since September, just getting things in line, just hitting that call and say, hey, man, we interested. You know, here's what we got on the table so far. We thinking about maybe possibly bringing you in. We just going to hear about it in January. These teams been in talks with Deion's agents since September. So it's reality. You know, things are going to happen. People have been looking. He's the hottest candidate, hottest free agent on the market. Teams going to start calling. They ain't going to wait till December and call. The hire is going to happen in December. So we talking right now. They probably been talking. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I'm just saying, for me, as a fan, I hope he stays, honestly, even though I can't stand J-State, but he did do a good job with what he done at the program. That's a good look for that university and a good look for their fan base.
Hey, KP.
But go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think if he had a win over a Power 5 program that this would be a discussion right now?
If he has a win over a Power 5 discussion, I mean, if he had a win over a Power 5 school,
would this be a discussion?
That's a great question. I think he will have a better. I think Jackson State can have a better hold on him, a better grip on him per se, because now we can add some more Power 5 schools, or we can add some more Power schools to our schedule. I mean, as a Jackson State institution, you have no grip. You have no grip on Deion. You have nothing to say, hey man, we want you here. What are you offering? Auburn's offering a national championship, a SEC championship, a bowl game, funds, incentives that his incentives package is going to cost more than the base salary that he's making at Jackson State. I beat Bama, I get paid $500K. I beat LSU, I get paid another $600K on top of my base salary. So what you offering me, Jackson?
Facts.
I win a celebration, I get $1 million, I get $10K. That ain't enough to put my bills up. That ain't enough to pay my mortgage and my house. So that's what I mean. Like it's apples and oranges when it comes to this realm we in. And these athletic departments have so much money from the sponsors, the corporations, the boosters, like money coming out of Wazoo that people don't even understand. That's why I was plugging in that documentary. You could get a full scope of where this money is being pumped and coming from. Southern Jackson, we are shut out of those avenues. So like I say, what does Jackson State can offer Deion outside of, hey, we black, we HBCU school, and we want you at our program? Auburn, man, then the thing is, man, I'm a land my plane. Then the thing is, Deion is in a position where he can actually go to a school and win a national championship. This is not like he's going to fucking Illinois or Wyoming or somewhere. He's going to an SEC school that can possibly play for a playoff berth, a national New Year's Eve bowl. That's he walking into that. This man has not he hadn't had to go through all the ranks to get to this position. It's landing in his lap after 3 years. Like, you really can't compete with that per se at that level. And we just got to be real as people and human beings to understand what we up against. And if I'm Jay State, I'm gonna put it back. If I'm Southern, only thing I can say is, man, look, we're gonna beef this schedule up, and we may increase, the incentive package, or we may increase the base salary. But hey, I can't compete with Auburn. I got to understand and be real with myself. I can't compete with them people, man.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, appreciate the call.
But I ain't gonna hold your line, man. Great topic, bro. Keep doing your shit, bro. We're gonna chop it up.
Appreciate it. That's some great points. I mean, my thing is this: if Deion would have had any Power 5 win or a FBS win on his schedule at Jackson State, would this even be a topic of conversation? That I think there will be a little bit of hesitancy from Auburn because he hasn't beaten the FBS program. You know what I'm saying? I think if he would have beaten the FBS program, this wouldn't even be I really don't think it'd be a topic of conversation, I'll be honest. I'm gonna go Rocky, then I'm gonna go 2783 next, and then I think that's UCAM, and then Charles 5239. Hey, Rocky, you live.
Hey, what's up, Scotty? Man, this is a great conversation, man. And my concern about, looking at it is to see if it's possible or not. It's not whether or not Deion is qualified in any of that kind of stuff, right? Because I think from a coaching experience level, I think we agree that he doesn't have a pedigree to get a Power 5 job.
Yeah.
But when you talk about what he would bring to a program, right? I think he's more than qualified to elevate Auburn's program, right? So I think, he deserves a look, right? But I did this morning. I went and looked at all the interviews from guys like Dino Babers and James Franklin and Lockley, stuff on YouTube, and watch how those guys talk and watch how those guys, communicate with the media and stuff like that, bro. It's so much different than what Deion does and how he communicates. I'm afraid that he would literally be unhireable for some institutions because of and only because of the level of blackness he brings to the school. You know what I mean? Because Deion is Deion. He doesn't even sound like, he doesn't communicate in the same way. He looks so much different than those other coaches that coach at the FBS schools, man, that will they accept him or will they even want that representing their university? You know, that's a question that I always ask. What do you think, Scotty? Would they allow him to be Deion in those spaces?
I think it's like this, right? You can't date a guy or a girl that you met her in the club and they get mad that she in the club. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If you married a girl, you met her at the library, and then all she want to do is read books. It's like, that's how you met her. You know what I'm saying? You can't get Deion and then try to mold him into an Auburn culture. That's not why you hired him. You know, like, that's my issue. You know what I'm saying? So you hired him because of his flair. Now, and that was going into my next point, is a culture fit. Because to me, I was at the Jackson State in the Boom. The culture is different. It's just different. They were playing who is swag, baby. Who they not playing that at Auburn. You know, they're not playing that at Auburn. You know, it's a different. Now, will he connect with the football team? Absolutely. They all black. You know what I'm saying? Like 90% of them Bama's are going to be black.
But that ain't the. Yeah, I don't think that's hard. Like, will he be able to get the players? Will he be able to build an infrastructure? Will he be successful? I think he can do all those things. And I think he used Jackson State as a proving ground to do it. But how can you see a whole bunch of people who traditionally support Auburn talking about who is swag, baby? And you know what I mean? Because he was, again, Deion, to his credit, is a huge personality, and he literally changes the temperature in any space that he goes into.
So,
and
go ahead. Finish your point.
No. And what I'm saying is, do they want the temperature change to that point? You got to realize, Jackson State had a decade of losing before they even took a chance on a guy like Deion. Like, they were in the dumps, from what I understand, before they took a chance on Deion. How bad does it have to get for a predominantly white university for them to take a chance on Deion? You know,
it should be where Auburn is. In my opinion, it should be where Auburn is right now. But the thing for me is this, right? Deion is such a chameleon. And listen to the words I'm using. Deion is such a chameleon that it will never be Jackson State, but he can make it to where Auburn is like Deion. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, he can make Auburn cool.
Yeah, he can make Auburn like himself. So it won't be to the extent of the black culture of coolness, but he can turn Auburn into what Deion wants, right? So if he uses a different mantra other than I believe, and he uses a different mantra, they'll be right. Everybody in Auburn will be right there wearing we strive. You know what I'm saying? If that's his new slogan, we gonna strive, baby. When I get into Auburn, we gonna strive to get back to it. We gonna strive. And then everybody in Auburn, Blue will come on here and he gonna have a We Strive shirt on. You know, like, that is what Deion is at the core. He makes you, he's like the jock, he's like the superstar that makes you cool by hanging with him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what becomes of Auburn. Auburn now becomes cool because it's cool with Deion. That's the same thing that happened to Jackson State.
See, I once hated Deion, right? I once hated Deion because I grew up a Cowboy fan. And then he did some commercials, you know, well, he first signed with the Cowboys, and then he did some Pepsi and some Domino's commercials with Jerry Jones, and he even made Jerry Jones look cool. That's the first thing I remember as you were talking. is that he did commercials with Jerry Jones. It was either Pizza Hut or Pepsi. I can't remember. They asked Deion, Jerry Jones asked Deion, do you want 20, 15, 20 million? And Deion said, both. Oh, y'all probably may not remember that commercial, but he made Jerry Jones cool in that moment by doing commercials with Primetime. So I get what you said, Scotty. You're right on point with that, is that he brings, it's a level of swagger and coolness that follows Deion that for whatever reason, people from all different cultures kind of feel comfortable with him.
Absolutely.
For the lack of a better word.
Absolutely. But hey, man, appreciate the call, Rocky. If you want to call back in, the call lines are filling up, but I want to get some other people in here. All right.
All right, bet.
I appreciate it. Hey, Chris, coming to you, and then 2783. I'm coming to you. All right. What's up, Chris?
Yo, what's good, Scotty?
What's up?
I don't really know too much about Deion. As far as going to Auburn, I think you like top 3 in the coaching search, but I know a lot about Lane. So as far as the him at Ole Miss, we have about $16 million in the Grove Collective, specifically for NIL purposes to get transfers and other players to come to Ole Miss. That's number one. Lane, I think in the state of Mississippi, you can only state employee can only sign a 4 years contract. So we're probably going to get, from what I understood or what I read, we're going to give Lane about $10 million, $10.5 million to stay. But it's a clause in that in the state of Mississippi where you can have a state employee for up to 6 years for something. So I think that's about $10.5 million, 60 whatever a year, 60 for the contract for 6 years.
Yeah.
So as far as other things, nobody scares nobody in the SEC more than Deion Sanders. That's fact. So I'm like this. I've seen people from Ole Miss like, look, man, we got to do whatever we have to do to keep Deion at Jackson State, because Deion coming to Auburn is nobody is worried about nobody's worried about anything but Deion at Auburn. Right?
Hey, Chris,
Deion get to Auburn, it's game over.
Chris, let me ask you this question, since you know more about Ole Miss. If Lane Kiffin slides up to Auburn, is there a possibility that Ole Miss makes a pitch to Deion?
Thanks.
That's
Big
possible.
fact.
It's a possibility.
It's already being said.
Wow. And how much would
it's already been? You said, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
I said, how much would you guys look at to pay him?
He'll probably be getting what Lane is getting now. That's $7.5 million to start.
Shit. Man, that's different.
It's winning. Listen, we 8-1 right now. We just had a 10-2 season, man. First 10-win season since about 40, 50 years. These folks want to keep winning right here. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing that stop. It ain't nothing that stop. I think Auburn has like $11 million in their collective. We got $16 million. But the thing is that's gonna prevent Lane from going to Auburn is Jimmy Rain, Mr. Yellowwood. Yellowwood University is what people call Auburn. Lane has full autonomy at the University of Mississippi at Ole Miss. He's not gonna get that at Auburn. What scares me is that Deion would get that. Lane won't get it, but Deion would get that. And that's what everybody knows. Like, yeah. So I mean, listen, I really do want Deion to stay in Jackson State. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Jackson State on game day on Saturday morning. But I mean, it's looking right now that I think Matt Rule is number one in this coaching search.
No, you talking about for Ole Miss or Auburn?
For Auburn.
No,
we ain't looking for nobody.
No,
hey, this ain't no coaching search. Lane staying up.
It's Lane.
For sure. Like
it's Lane.
Lane staying up.
All right, appreciate the call, Chris. This is what Blue just sent me on the hot board. I'm sorry, Blue, if I wasn't supposed to say it, but Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders, Jeff Grimes, Sonny Dykes, Hugh Freeze, Matt Rule in that order, going top to bottom, one to last. Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders, Jeff Grimes, Sonny Dykes, Hugh Freeze, and Matt Rule. Those are the top picks for the Auburn job. All right, 2783. Appreciate you for holding and coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Yeah. How you doing?
What's goody? What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Alabama. This is Rod. I'm gonna give a different perspective. I want to say that I don't think it's a cap at JSU. I think the cap can be whatever Deion envisions, and I say that to say that the Power Fives have what they have because they built those programs. White men built those schools. So when you have a figure like Deion, who's bringing so much attention to HBCU, and if he's doing it for the reason that he says he's doing it to build up, to change the culture, God brought him there, then you're going to fulfill that mission above trying to chase a check. Now, if you're going to limit it to, I'm just doing the job, I'm using JSU as a stepping stone to get to Auburn, then say that.
Right. Can I counteract what you just said?
Yes.
Deion in his 60-minute, Deion Sanders, out of his own mouth in his 60-minute interview said, if I get petitioned by a Power 5 program, I would have to entertain it because of my assistants. That I didn't make that up. Nobody else. He said that out of his own mouth. So that has to be in consideration because he said it. Now, just because you want Deion to take Jackson State somewhere does not mean that the powers that be around the state of Mississippi will allow you to do that.
Okay, that's true. But at the same time, you don't know that until you try. Like the longer, if Deion leaves Jackson State right now, it'll be all for naught. Because Jackson State going to return to where they were and be forgotten and be the doormat of the SWAC for a while.
Is that not on?
So it's not going to benefit.
Is that not Jackson State problem? That should be Jackson State's problem.
Oh no, it is Jackson State problem. So I just want people don't get. This is my main point: is that if we as a group, if we don't build up our own schools, if you don't, it's going to take a figure like Deion to change the landscape. I'm not saying it's Deion's responsibility. He can do what he wants to do. But it's going to take a figure like that to change the landscape to get it where you can compete on the level of those Power 5 schools. It's no other way to do it but to do it.
My thing, though, is this, Rod. Isn't that a lot to put on one figure that if he leaves, the SWAC goes, like, Jackson State goes, like, Deion is...
Well, we've often had figures, especially black men, that required a lot of them, right? That's precedent. So, yes, it is a lot. And I'm not saying that Deion has to do it, but it's going to take a figure like that to actually change the landscape. Because there's no other group of minorities that would have had HBCUs, black talented youth, after being denied at certain institutions, and then to enrich those same institutions while your institution struggles. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I know I got off more into a historical point of view, but I just feel like Deion could gain so much more if he stays, see the vision out of JSU. You don't know what the outcome could be. We don't know.
But once again, my issue with what you're saying is what you're talking about right now is like a job that is held up by one person. That if your boss doesn't come into work, the company fails. And it shouldn't be that. That doesn't make any sense. No business is built like that, to where if one guy doesn't come in and one guy doesn't do it, the business fails. And that's what you're saying. You're saying, oh my God, if Deion doesn't stay, this won't happen and this won't change. How does that work?
Well, wasn't that Deion's message for a while though? Because I wouldn't have labeled him with it if that wasn't a part of his message for a minute. I'm not putting anything on him that he didn't put out.
Go ahead.
So I'm not putting anything on him that he didn't put out. And the fact is that if he's coming there for the reason that he said he was coming there, then he would see it through. This wouldn't even be a discussion right now.
So I think that's something you need to talk about with Deion. I mean, like that sounds like a personal problem to me that you're going to get upset at Deion if he leaves. That sounds like a personal problem.
Oh no, I'm not upset. I'm just saying as a people, we can't expect to compete if we don't stick and build up our own institutions. That doesn't
have anything to do with Deion though. Like he has done his part. If he leaves, he still has done it. What about all the millions of HBCU alumni? Hold them accountable. Hold the administration accountable. Why are you saying Deion leaves?
I'm not holding them accountable. But when you talk about resources, you have to understand the economic plight that Black people are in. We're in a disadvantage financially anyway. You're not.
No, Rod. I have gone to these, man. I wasn't trying to scream because my voice hurts. I've been to these Southern Heritage Classics. I've seen $100,000, $200,000 RVs. You Bamas are not broke. You only spend money on what you want to spend money on. I know Bamas flying to every game to go watch their school. Miss me with that, Rod. Miss me with that.
When you're looking at you're looking at an RV, but when you're looking at statistics financially, is no comparison. So you can't say that.
I'm talking about the college-educated graduates of HBCUs. They are not all broke.
No, I didn't claim that they were all broke. I'm sure they're all not, but you can't compare financially to what Auburn can bring because of the history of this country. That's why.
Bro, come on, bro. Stop it, man. Stop it. I'm not. Listen,
so you don't think?
I'm not. Listen.
Okay.
I'll say this. Yes, are we as a people? Do we have financial problems? Absolutely. But as a collegiate graduate alums, that where most Black professionals are put in place by HBCUs, these Bamas have money. They have money.
So you're saying
there are HBCU millionaires.
So you're saying that HBCUs can pay what Auburn can pay?
No, that you're talking about. Exactly. Listen, you're talking about 30,000 annual. They probably graduate 20 to 25,000 students a year. It's not the same of Jackson State graduating maybe 3,000 or 5,000.
With hundreds of years of generational wealth behind them. I know, yes.
So how does Deion close that gap?
Deion can close that gap by what he's doing now. He's already closing the gap.
Bro, he can't close 100. He cannot close 100-year gap by his damn self.
By himself.
No, he cannot.
We know that. We know that, but it's not going to close anything if he's abandoning. If he's abandoning
his job to save you, Bamas. It is not his job.
Well, in essence, JSU saved him because he was denied how many times for the same PWIs that he want to go to now. So in essence, it wasn't JSU's job, but they did it.
Bro. Jackson State, if I'm being okay, Deion even had a leverage play with Jackson. He didn't need to coach. He wanted to coach. That's two different things. You Bamas was in obscurity in sport and football. So it was a match made in heaven. Deion's like, I got a coach to get a better job, so I'll take Jackson State and I'll help him out as much as I can. Jackson State was in the vulnerable position. Jackson State was the pretty woman in this situation. Jackson State was on the corner looking for her next fix. Let's not act like.
All HBCUs are in a financial rut compared to PWI.
Dog, you keep.
We
changing.
know that. We know that.
You keep changing.
This is all I'm saying. This is what I'm saying to you. We know that. Like I said, I wouldn't even if Deion came in with the attitude, this is just a job, just a stepping stone. I'm using this to get the job that I want, not making about changing the landscape of lifting HBCUs. I wouldn't even assign any of that to him.
Rod.
Because you're not that person.
Rod, let me tell you this, bro. You really have to get over this savior complex that you have with Deion. Deion is not your savior. Deion is not.
Oh no,
he is not.
I never said he was. I never said he was our savior. But this
you're
is the
saying
thing.
that. You're saying that. But what the words you're saying, you're saying Deion is your savior. He's the black.
No, let me put.
Oh my God.
Let me put it to you. Let me put it to you this way. Had I had Deion, this is me personally. I'm not saying Deion had to do that. Had I had Deion's resources, his abilities, financial security, then I would definitely be the savior for my people.
That's
I
you.
would. But and I understand that everybody's different.
It's not his job to be your savior. That's what you're not understanding, Rob. You're trying to hold Deion up to say he has to stay. He should. It's not his job. He's a football coach.
I understand that, but it's more important.
Bye. Get off my damn line. Let me see. 4639 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
What's up with Scotty?
What's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
CJ calling from Savannah, man.
What's up,
I don't know what that last caller was on, but I'm gonna keep it simple and sweet, man. People talking about, oh man, he's doing it what God called him here, right? Scott, I'm asking you a question, right? And I know Miss Script know this, right? Judas walked with Jesus every day. When the money came, what happened?
He turned on him.
He turned on, right? So this whole idea that, oh, God called me here, when the money's right, he's going to leave. When you talk, when Prime talks, he says, I want to take care of my coaches. These are not no coaches off the streets. These are established names in college football, NFL. He want to take care of them because they deserve it. So these people talking about, man, if he stay at Jackson State, this is what he's going to do. Jackson State or no SWAC school can contain Coach Prime for years. He's going to be here for a little bit and he's gone. But you appreciate what he did for you. Jackson State, if he do so happen to leave, look what he did for you. He turned your losing program into a winning program. That's like upgrading a girl on the street that nobody wants. And you get with the guy that every girl on the street wants. And he upgrades you. So now you're not at basic no more. You can go back out and get somebody that's equal or similar to him. That's all I wanted to say. And the last thing, Cowboys Nation, baby.
Hey, always, baby. Good call, baby. Man, listen, man. Let me tell you, bro. Jackson State, bro. And listen, anybody out there that thinks Deion is supposed to be the savior for HBCU culture needs to stop. Like, that's not his job. That is not his job. His job and what he did, his job was to be a football coach. All right, a leader of men. What propelled and what came from that is him putting a spotlight on HBCU culture. Him putting a spotlight in a reinvigorating of HBCU culture and sports and fandom into Black community. Great. Now, what the HBCUs need to do with this new insight, this new vigor, this new fandom is to stand up on your own 2 feet and walk your happy ass home and do what you need to do to continue to keep it moving. This is the time where you take what you've learned from Deion, what you've gotten from Deion, the SWAC, Jackson State, other institutions. Take what Deion has given you the blueprint on and say, hey, let's pick this up and run with it our own way. That is what Deion did for you. That is what Deion will always have for you guys. That is the legacy that Deion has left in the SWAC. Hey, I've done this. I've showed you social media. I showed you branding. I've showed you marketing. I showed you talent. I showed you how to recruit. I showed you all these aspects, right? Now, once I leave, continue to do it in your own way. Continue to do it in your own way. Jesus freaking Christ. All right, Dre, coming to you. Then Rocky, back to you. What's up?
Man, well, that other call was wild. If Deion don't do anything else, he's probably done more for JSU probably than any coach in the last 2 years. If he don't do nothing, if he quits today, he's probably done more. I mean, and to be honest, probably the SWAC, because the commissioner been on easy street. He fell into Deion. So the commissioner ain't really had to do much. He just got to shut up and let Deion be Deion. I could have been a commissioner with Deion on a staff. Because Deion's doing that. You got companies who want to flock to wherever Deion is. So it ain't the commissioner that's even doing it. They just pulling Deion. So you're right. You just need to learn from what being around Deion. And better believe that if he goes to Auburn, all his coaches are going. That includes your beloved T.C. Taylor and your beloved Otis, because they're going to get that real bad. And if you think they're not going when assistants are making $750K, that's life-changing money. That's just the reality of it. You know, TC going to get paid $750 to be a wide receiver coach. He do that for 3-4 years.
Good.
There you go.
Good.
He good. And I'm mentioning they're going to win. So what that does, that brings another eight. And what he really does, he puts a pipeline of HBCU coaches in Power 5. That's what really happens. So now they want to say, okay, why they receivers so good? The wide receiver coach, what they end up doing? They make him an OC. Now he gets OC money and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. And Deion's in a position where it's just based on what he wants. That's the beauty of being in a position of choice. I don't have to take it. It's just, it just depends on what he does. But that call was talking about Deion and Otis. Deion's probably paid it. Maybe JSU probably owe Deion. To be truthful.
That's good. That's good. That's
good. They probably need he needs to have a building called the Sanders Building.
That's
because you can't pay for that. You just can't. So I'm interested to see what Auburn does, though. I'm interested to see.
I am too. But hey, man, appreciate the call, Dre.
Appreciate it.
Hey, listen, man. I saw what Yogi said. It's like a welfare check and stuff like that. I want to be very honest with y'all real quick before I go to some more callers. Hey, sorry, Rocky. I'm going to go to my boy Bridges, then I'm going to come back to you, Rock. If Deion goes to Auburn and implodes, loses 3 years or loses 4 years and they fire him, he can always come back to HBCUs. Come on, man. Let's not play this game. Like, he can always go back to Jackson State. He can always go to an HBCU. He can always come back down to the SWAC and take over another program. No different than any other coach getting recycled in the pack. And Deion's a damn good recycle coach, especially in the SWAC. All right, so let's not act like if he goes up, he can't come back down. All right, it's possible, just like with anything. So let's stop this. 6242 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Yo, Scotty, what's up with you?
What's up, Bridges? Talk to me.
Oh, man, this is crazy. This is like this, Scotty. I've been thinking about it. Just use you as an example. Everybody say, oh, you brought light to the HBCU realm. Oh, this, and this, and that. So basically what people say is like, Scotty, you should stay down here, even though ESPN offers you a contract to go on ESPN and talk about college football. That's like saying you wouldn't entertain that, Scotty. No, you gotta entertain that. That's life changing.
You got to.
That's life changing to you, your family, your friends, your friends, your kids. That's life changing. So why wouldn't he do that? And why wouldn't you do that?
That's real. No, that's real.
Because it's like this, Scotty. Deion said, like you said, Deion Sanders laid the blueprint. My thing is this: if he laying this blueprint, why is not everybody on a coach's call with Deion Sanders trying to follow it? All I really hear is Coach Willie Simmons. Being honest with you, He talk about Coach Willie Simmons more than anybody. Deion Sanders, they just brought out somebody for their homecoming. I forgot what rapper it was. Guess what FAMU did? They brought out a rapper that just made a video with Future for their homecoming.
Yep.
I don't see nobody else doing it. So y'all sit here and complain about, oh, this, and that, oh, this, and that. If he's showing you what he's doing and y'all are not doing it, who's being stupid? What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Doing something over and over. Exactly. So like, what are we really talking? If he's doing this stuff for us, why are we not taking it and molding it ourselves and doing it the way we can do it the best way we can? Because we talk about a culture, we talk about, oh, we like to change things, oh, we different. Then actually put your money where your mouth is and do it.
That's real.
It's a ton of alumni that can come out here run out and during a game that can rap or do whatever. Diddy can come out on Howard on their homecoming and start rapping and doing the Diddy bop. Have anybody thought of that? No. Thank you, Howard. Dude, that's personally for me. That's a freebie. So we got to stop sitting on our ass and saying Deion is our savior when he's just like you said, Scotty, he's just a football coach. He ain't innovative. He's just a black man that know how to think. And they gave him free autonomy. And don't think this white, don't think Auburn is not going to give him somewhat free autonomy to do what he got to do to win the championship. I'll be damned. They trying to whoop Nick Saban ass. That's what they trying to do. And that's all they really care about is championships and whoop Nick Saban ass.
That's real.
And Prime is the best one to do it.
That is real. Hey, but appreciate
I'm done, Scott.
No, you good, bro. Appreciate the call, Bridges, as always, my boy.
All right, peace.
Hey, listen, man. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. I've gotten inquiries from ESPN. ESPN has emailed me and my girl a few times. Just like in a casual, like, like, hey, what would it take to bring you a part of ESPN? We've had those talks. I've had those talks. You know what I'm saying? There is an independent factor that, that I love, because listen, when you do your own stuff and you have your own thing, you know what I'm saying? It's a confidence, it's a freedom that I can't even explain to you, that I can get on here and say whatever I want, unless YouTube trying to shut me down, you know what I'm saying? And have that aspect, you know what I'm saying? We've been approached by a couple people. We've been approached by Fox Sports. We've been approached by ESPN. We've been approached by Amazon Prime. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been approached by companies just as like fillers and testers to see what my price would be, or, what they would pay to have Offscript on their platform. You know what I'm saying? But it's different. It's different when you own your own stuff. It is. It's different when you're independent. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But I would be stupid to turn it down. I won't say turn it down. I'll be dumb to not have inquiries. I would be dumb not to, see what they're talking about. Go to the interview. Talk to the talent. What is it? Talent acquisition. That's what the lady's name is. That's her title. Talent acquisition. I would be dumb not to talk to them and see what they will be offering for me to come to ESPN or Fox or Amazon Prime or whatever platform. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there's still something that at the end of the day you gotta figure out for yourself. I'm gonna go you, Rocky, then I'm gonna go JB. Hey, what's up, Rock?
Hey, what's up, Scotty? Hey, man, I just wanted to come on and say this, man, is that with all the talent and education and accolades that has grown up with all the legacy and history within HBCU sports and HBCU culture, y'all are expecting somebody from outside the culture to be dedicated and committed to y'all? in a way that y'all ain't been committed to y'all. Like literally everything that Deion has done could have been done before Deion ever showed up. That's what gets me, is that when you talk, like I say, since being introduced to HBCU sports, HBCU culture, I love it, man. It's a lot of fun. It's not anything foreign to me. I love the people. It's super dope, right? But at the end of the day, the people that has benefited the most from HBCUs seem to be the people that's willing to give the least. And I don't understand it.
It don't make sense.
And I don't understand. Please explain that to me. Why y'all calling Scotty and asking Deion to please stay, and if he leaves, he's a traitor. If he leaves, he didn't mean what he said when he took the Jackson State job, and God didn't really call him if he leaves. But call and tell somebody, why should someone from outside the culture care more than people who have been educated and their families have been benefited and they've had so much success from the education that they received from an HBCU and their experiences? Why should he care more than y'all? And I'm out.
Hey, appreciate the call, Rock. That's a damn good question. Damn good question. JB, coming to you. Hey, what's up, JB? And Doc, you're next.
Hey, Scotty. I think Rocky kind of stole some of my thunder a little bit, but I'm going to try to jump in with that. I think that this Deion situation has taught us three things. Number one, and Scotty, you did a show about this before, we're not real sports fans. If you know anything about sports, you know that this stuff happens. Coaches get linked to other jobs all the time. This is not new. This is not earth-shattering. This is not out of the norm. And if coaches go somewhere else, they're going to take their coaching staff with them. It happens in all sports. Anywhere you go, there's going to take place. That's number one. Number two, this also shows us the HBCU people, we take everything personally. We're not looking at it as Deion Sanders possibly going up to an FBS school. We're looking at it as him leaving us. He's not leaving us. He's getting another job. That's all he's doing. And Scotty, if you remember, you caught the same flack when you went to SEC Media Days.
Yep.
Because you were looking for other things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not doing anything differently that no one else has ever done. And number three, what this has taught us is that we haven't learned a thing. And here's what I mean by that. I think a few weeks ago, they talked about Deion Sanders donating half of his salary to get some facilities built. And this is not trying to be a diss towards JSU or whatnot. But if y'all were serious about this, you would have said, no, don't worry about spending your money. We got this. We're going to raise this money and pay for this stuff ourselves. But you're expecting other people to come here and do things for you. And it's sad, and this is the bonus one, Scott, this is the last one, then I'm gone. It's sad that it took a celebrity coach to come in and make us give a shit about sports.
That's real, Jay. That's
real. And it's like, it's not about, I'm gone, man. I mean, people need to grow up a little bit.
I love it. Hey, appreciate the call, JB. Hey, I'm gonna go to Doc, then I'm gonna say something. Hey, Doc, coming to you. What's up, Doc?
What's going on, man? How can you go behind those two right there, bro? No, but everybody that's talking except for the one that gave me a damn headache. Mostly everybody is right. Now, I say, for example, okay, so yesterday I had Carl Reed on the podcast, and, he said that it would be crazy that if Prime don't get, don't get that interest, to see what it's all about. And if they throw a bag at him, you don't think he's going to leave? He's not going to leave. He's, like you said, he's doing it for his coaches. He wants his coaches paid because he said he's fine. But another thing we also talked about was the fact that we are not in the era of where Eddie Robinson stays at one school for 50-something years.
Facts.
We are not in the era. We're not in the era where Bobby Bowden, you got a Bobby Bowden that stayed at Florida State for almost 40 years, or Joe Paterno stayed at Penn State for like 60 years. We are not in that type of era anymore. We are in an era where coaches, on average, stay at a place 4 years and they gone. We are at a, we are at a time where coaches, if you ain't getting stuff done within 3 years that you out of school, you are fired. And they are quick to replace you with somebody that's going to give they're going to give them the same opportunity to try to turn the program around within 3 years, or they gone. And it's going to be a never-ending cycle. That's it. That's it. And the thing about it is, we as Jackson State fans, we got to understand this. He's not going to be here for long. So, and then two, you got to be crazy enough that actually don't have a damn contingency plan to figure out who's going to be the next head coach of Jackson State football when Deion leaves. He should already have been planning it from the jump when he actually hired this man on in 2020. He got to have a plan because he knows he's not going to be there for long. He knows he's not going to be there for long. So we just got to enjoy what we have right now, bask in the glory of what we have right now. And if he leaves, he leaves. It's like you said, it's the business of college football.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Hey, appreciate it.
But you got a good one, bro.
Hey, appreciate the call, Doc. Smash coming to you, and then 1497 coming to you. Hey, what's up, Smash?
Hey, Scotty, man. We gotta be very rational about this, man. You know what I'm saying? As much slack as, we give J State and Deion, you know what I'm saying? But from the outside looking in, what Deion done in 2 years, it might have took Jackson 20 years to get close to. A new facilities, man. Listen. And I'm a firm believer, you know what I'm saying? I always say I always wish Deion would have been the SWAC commissioner versus as the Jackson State's coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that Jackson got, man, it's crazy. Like, bro, like, I don't understand how we expect our players to get looks and make it to the next level from the SWAC or HBCUs, but a coach can't get elevated from a SWAC job. That don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I'd be looking at it as like Deion had to come to J State to get his elevation to get to the big leagues. You know what I'm saying? Give and take. And like the boy just said, they should have already been planning for when he leave. I should already be planning for how can we maintain this. You think JSU Fire is gonna leave that quick when Deion leaves? It's gonna take a little minute to swindle down and see if they can do without Deion. That's gonna be a story in itself. You need to be getting the PR team together to be able to keep this ship afloat. You know what I'm saying? So, but to say he's wrong for leaving and taking, that's selfish as a motherfucker, if anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude turn every, we be, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I wish he was getting something. You know what I'm saying? They bought that over there. Dude turn every game into a damn concert. You understand that?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And like a boy said, he ain't doing nothing that nobody else couldn't have did before he got here. Granted, he's a celebrity and he's probably one of the biggest damn football stars ever. You know what I'm saying? But he's just being innovative. So long story short, bro, I think it's wrong for anybody to be mad that Deion is even considering. You know what I'm saying? We should be his statue and his going away party should already be playing. It's already playing. That's how I'm feeling.
I love it, Sebastian. Appreciate the call. 1497 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Yes, you hear me?
Yeah, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, it's DC. I'm from Pittsburgh, man.
All right, talk to me.
I ain't never been to an HBCU, and I ain't no alum of Jackson State, right? But what I see from, I always listen to you, and what I see from listening to you is that everybody calling your thing is not from Jackson State. You can tell that, right? So my thing is, this is what I see. I see Deion, and Deion can't say that he ain't going nowhere. He can't say that because he won't get no offers.
And what Deion means by, well, he gonna entertain it because his coaches, when they come and sit down with Deion gonna say, I got Coach Thurman for you. He good for you. Go ahead and take him. So he could get his money. And I understand from everybody's side what they saying, because some people don't understand business, right? Some people don't understand business. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
I understand that. Some people don't understand business. But I also understand some people understand when a man say something, because everybody heard what he said when he came. He said he came because of what happened to George Floyd, and he came to even the playing field. He ain't even the playing field yet. That hasn't happened.
So let me ask you a question.
Another thing is too, another thing too, real quick, before you ask me, another thing too. He got all three of his kids at Jackson State. You think his kids ain't gonna look at him sideways and say, "Dang, bro, you brought us here. We all into the community. Shador got barbecue sauce, and you gonna leave us?" Like, it's deeper. What I'm trying to say is deeper. And then I got another thing to say about the one person that called in and said about they having Glorilla at their thing. See, the difference between what Deion doing at Jackson State, see, them rappers coming because they want to be a part of what Deion doing at Jackson State. Fam, you paid Glorilla to be there. Deion ain't paying people to be there, them rappers to be there with him. He ain't paying them.
Okay.
They paid the people to go to
Can I ask you a question?
FAMU.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If he leaves, then what's the narrative after your George Floyd situation? What's your narrative?
If you asking me if he leaves?
No shit, Sherlock. You on the phone, right? So if he leaves,
yeah.
If he leaves,
okay,
and you just said he came there because of George Floyd, and he's not. He's the level of the playing field, and the playing field hasn't been level, and he leaves. Then what's the narrative?
The narrative is Deion ain't a man of his word. That's the narrative. He's not a man of his word.
So you don't,
and he believe in that.
So you don't think Deion is level to play?
If you've been watching Prime, if you've been watching all Prime shows and all that, he believe in that man of your word type of stuff. Morals, and he believe in that type of stuff.
So
if he leaves now and the playing field ain't level, and he hasn't. It was just a glory spot in time for Jackson State.
What you would say is,
but if he leaves now,
how you would take
then
it,
he's not a man of his word.
How you would take it,
he's not a man of his
that
word.
He lied to you. You would take it that he lied to you. That's how you would take it, correct? That he lied to you.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
So you would take it personally.
He lied, right? You got a definite point. He lied.
So you would take it personally that he lied to you.
That he lied to me?
Yeah, I mean, because
no, I wouldn't take it like he lied to me. I'd take it like if I was from Jackson State or Jackson State alum or even his kids, I'd be like, you lied to us.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'd be like. You lied to us, because what I'm saying is he got like his daughter is at Jackson State.
Can I ask you a question?
You feel what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a
His
question?
son.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Do you keep the same energy for your politicians that you vote for? Do you keep the same energy for your family members that lie to you? I just want to know, do you keep the same energy for everybody?
Do I keep the same energy for everybody that like part of like being a man of their word and all that?
That lies. Like, yeah, do you keep the same energy? I'm asking.
I mean, I don't really do politics. I don't do politics like that. I vote, but I don't do politics.
Listen to the question. Do you keep the same energy for everybody who does not keep their word?
You're right. But can I ask you a question though?
What's up?
But can that be what he's doing? Because I done seen other coaches do that. I done seen other coaches go on to interviews for a job and then come out next thing you know, they offensive coordinator is going somewhere for a head coaching job.
That's part of life.
They come out next thing you know, they defensive coordinator, because Deion is not a coach like that. Deion is a CEO coach.
You just answered your
own question. He go get an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator and a special teams person.
You just answered your own question. It happens all the time, so why would I take it personally? You answered your own question. That's what you
but
said.
I'm saying,
you said, I see this all the time.
What I'm trying to say is,
what I'm trying to say is it happens all the time. That it also happens like coaches don't just be leaving. Sometimes they get their assistant's job while they keep the same job that they got.
I ain't seen that. I
just seen that happen plenty of times.
Where?
Too.
When? Give me the last one. Give me the most recent one.
The players that the coaches that be on with Belichick.
That's NFL.
Everybody want the coaches. Everybody want the coaches because we know the college rules
that's not how that works.
We know the college rules is only the head coach could go. Like Dennis Thurman is the college rules is Dennis Thurman can't go interview for no job.
That's not
why they
it's not the same, sir. It's not the same, sir. Because Lincoln Riley had a job at Oklahoma and took an interview at USC. Chip Kelly had a job at Notre Dame and took an interview at LSU. So you don't know what you're talking about, sir. Thank you. Try again.
Yep.
1497 coming to you. Oh, dang, he just hung up. 9197 coming to you. Hey, caller, you good? You live.
What's going on, Scotty?
What's up?
This Craig from Michigan.
What's up?
I like what you're doing, and I like what you said about HBCU should be put on notice with Deion. They should have been doing this all along, but they needed a jump start, and I think Deion gave them a jump start. But will they follow through? I doubt it. I believe HBCUs are not good at following through, and if they were good, they should be taking notes and implementing some of those things that Deion has put at Jackson State right now. But will we see that? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, no problem. Hey, caller, you live.
Scotty, the question is, where are you going to go when Prime leaves? What are you going to do? Who are you going to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, my channel isn't strictly Jackson State.
Do you have an exit plan?
My,
What's your exit plan? Are you
asking me? Are you asking me a question to respond, or just asking me a question to ask? Because you keep talking.
Oh no, I'm just asking. I know I do want you to respond.
Okay,
I want to know what your game plan is here.
We usually when you let somebody respond, you gotta be quiet. So my thing is this: my channel is not Jackson State centric. A lot of other channels are Jackson State centric. You can go watch a lot of channels. If they don't have Jackson State in the title, they don't even get 1,000 views. My stuff is not Jackson State centric. I can go talk about MEAC. I can talk about swag. I can talk about D2 if I wanted to. So it is what it is. So I'm Gucci over here. And if anything, I
mean, your views are catching the same amount of views when you do talk about the MEAC or you do talk about D2 football. You get the same response. Just like when you talk about Jackson State, that's where you get the majority of your views from.
That's not true.
So do you think that these Auburn fans are going to support your channel, Scotty? Are you going to be centered towards that? Are you going to follow him?
I mean, unlike other HBCU tubers, I mean, I went to SEC Media Day. So, I mean, I went to SEC Media Day before I even knew Deion was going to Auburn. So what's your question?
I did. You were doing your podcast before Coach Prime, and the majority of your followers subscribed to you either, number one, when you started out, you were pro Prime, and then you became against Prime. And that's where you get the majority of your subscribers from. Like, let's just keep it a buck.
I've been said that.
So,
Timona, I'm confused about what you're saying, though. Right? Even if the thing about
I don't understand why you asking a question. I mean, are you doing this for views, or are you seriously, like you just said, I will gladly support Coach Prime at Auburn. So you're going to support him at a PWI, but all you get at Jackson State is hate. Oh, they're not that good. This, that, and the third. It's always negative.
You're contradicting yourself because you said I haven't supported Prime, and that's a lie.
No, you were pro Prime until I guess you didn't get the response that you wanted when you went to go apologize for talking shit.
You don't.
And then you was like, I don't want to be.
You don't know.
Scotty, I followed you. You admitted it. You said that I was
speaking-
pro-crime, and then I didn't like it. So I
Listen.
didn't like being a dick rider. I was a dick rider, and then I decided I didn't want to be that. I want to be the opposite, right?
So isn't that your answer though? I'm confused because listen, this is my thing.
I'm asking, are you dick riding to Auburn, or are you sticking with the SWAC and the MEAC? Are you still going to be so supportive, and is that what you're going to do?
I don't know. You have to keep watching to figure it out. I mean, it's your choice. I think that's about as reason. That's about as sensible I can get for you. You got to keep watching to find out.
All right.
7770 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Yo, Scotty, this Nate from Georgia. How you doing, man?
What's up?
No, man, I just got a quick comment, and I'm gonna be done with it. Prime is gonna leave. Get it wrapped around your head. JSU will probably have 4 SWAC championships under their belt, and at minimum 2 Celebration Bowls. Be happy with it, and get ready for the next coach in the future. That's it.
I appreciate the call.
All right.
Listen, man. If I leave when Deion leaves, why do y'all care? I could do the same thing that Deion did. Why do you? This is the thing that's the thing of what black people is so funny. Why does it matter if I leave? I want somebody to call in and answer that question. If I decided to leave with Deion leaves, because listen, me and you are not the same, right? I have the flexibility to do so. This is my platform. I created this, right? This is Offscript. I created this. So if I wanted to jump ship and ride with Deion to Auburn, I can do that. So my question is what why? Why? I mean, so if somebody can answer me that, I would love to hear why it matters if I decided to leave HBCU with SWAC. Because if ESPN comes to me and if Fox Sports if ESPN, I've talked to the ESPN talent acquisition, I've talked to Fox Sports, I've talked to Amazon Prime, right? So if I've talked to all 3 of them and they act and I agree to something and they bring me on and I don't talk about SWAC or HBCU football, am I still a sellout? That's the question I would like to hear. Let me go. I'm gonna go 9593. Then I'm gonna go smash. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
What's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Scott, my name is John Wilkes. I'm calling about Slidell by the way of Jackson State. I'm a 97 graduate of Jackson State.
All right.
I wouldn't matter or mind if whatever Deion decided to do. If he take his fun and his coach and go to Auburn, that's fine, because I think he would not leave without making sure that we would have, I'd say Cam Newton or somebody that's already in that circuit that has somebody that will still pick that way up. It won't just be average coach. He would have some low coaches that he played with, like Marshall Falk, Cam Newton, that want to get into this coaching circuit. So I think he'll put somebody in place or help us put somebody in place if he move on, right? So the train will keep going. So I don't care one way or the other, because you get into these hot jobs to get a better job. If there's a better job right here that plateau, that's fine. And if I'm already building something, it's just like, am I working on something and I got it started? All I want to do is pass it to you guys. All you got to do is keep the train rolling. He knows plenty of people to put back in that place. So it would not matter to me, because I don't think the swag or the hype of Jackson State will go down anytime soon, because whoever comes going to have that same potential. They're going to still get the same recruit. And I would go for me, I would go for Cam Newton, right? He's in that circuit. He's been there. He got about 10 or 15 players that's played in the circuit that played in the league.
Yeah.
So he's been around that, right? So a lot of fans, he came out in 2010 or 15, he's still relevant with the Superman. So he got swag. He's a big-time name, and I think it'll still go on. So if he want to do that, I'm cool with it. I don't have no problem with that, right?
Yeah.
And secondly is that it's not just saying that Prime didn't do a lot for Jackson State, because he did a whole lot. But I don't care if it was 20, I don't think nobody in the SWAC 20 years back would do what he did, besides with W.C. Gordon and Eddie Robinson and places like that when I came to school, right? And so what he's doing is we tapping into this new culture with this new youth folk, and we call social media. So if you got another coaches like that, like Cam Newton's on social media, you got that, he'll still relate to the new people today. So I'm relaxed. So I'm not going back and forth. So if he goes, cool, I'm going to wish him well. They probably going to build a stadium called a Prime Stadium. I don't care what they do and put a statue in front of him or what he did. And it's going to keep the train moving. So people relax. And then, like I said, another point I'm going to let you go. Auburn is being saved too, right? So if he go to Auburn, they paying in, throwing in the bait at me, I want to be saved. They can't get past Nick Saban. They haven't been relevant since Cam Newton. So they trying to be saved too, right? So it doesn't matter. So he saved Jackson State. Auburn wanted to be saved. They're going to shoot the bag to him. He get it or not. Or he can sit, like he said, one caller said, I send my assistant coach and then give some more new coaches a chance, some more youth black coach or whatever.
Nobody does that. Nobody takes an interview and then says, oh, I'm going to send my assistant coaches. Nobody does that. Stop it. Nobody does that. Jesus freaking Christ. Who started that narrative? Nobody does that. Jesus. And my question, listen, I had to learn my lesson. Listen, I've been doing this a long time. I can't go on Timona like I want to, because last time I went hard on Timona, I became a sexist. Last time I went hard on Timona and I said some stuff, next thing you know, she crying in the chat. Next thing I know, people trying to cancel me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Scotty, he hate women. Oh, Scotty, misogynistic. All this. I'm getting counselor calls from Mr. Campbell and Mr. D. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let Timona run her mouth however she wants. The real question is this, right? The Jackson State channels, where do they go? No. See, let me, because a lot of y'all don't understand. Where does the Jackson State channels go? What happens to the pregame show? What happens to CFL? What happens to Tomorrow Leader Sports? What happened to those channels that are eccentrically supported about Jackson State? That's the real question. Once you answer that, Timona, come holler at me. Smash coming to you.
Bingo, boy, you hit it before I hit it. What the rest of the damn channels do? Scotty, you asked the question. The reason is, bro, people love to hate you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you realize that, Scotty. You know what I'm saying? If somebody gonna say something controversial or test whatever going on over there, you're gonna be the one to do it, and they're gonna come follow you to see what the hell you said. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think you need that's the answer to the question. Where do you go and why does it matter? Because people love to hate you just as much as like they give you flack for it. They like to see what you gonna say just so they can combat it. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. What does those channels do? You have fallen into the crowd of us who've been around HBCUs and who go to these games to say, all right, I can thug it out. Scotty, you DJ on your channel. You have prayer circles. You have fucking black people meet. You got all kind of stuff you do. Scotty, you are the talent, and now people are gonna see it. You know what I'm saying? You can do this without even saying nothing about Jackson State. We still gonna watch it. Auburn. You know what I'm saying? You can't win our games, so that's not even a question for you. That question is for a lot of them other channels. How are they gonna survive? You know what I'm saying? Does it still become interesting? Like, are we gonna get all these behind the scenes locker room videos? Like, I want to see it because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of YouTube, and everybody got a YouTube channel, and I want to see it, bro. So I ain't gonna sit there and try to antagonize you for that. Fuck no, Scotty. Your shit is still gonna survive because you can do almost any damn thing, and people gonna like. You know what I'm saying? Now, DJ, put the wig on and finish it off on the DJ check. I'm going, man.
Appreciate it. Like, that's my question. That's my I just. Listen, since we talk about channels, you know, you know what I'm saying, what that channel gonna look like in a few. I mean, I'm just like, what them channels gonna look like? What's the pregame show going? Is HBCU Game Day still gonna do the one-on-ones with Uncle Neely? I mean, that's the real question. So let's see what's happened to those channels. Let's see what happens to those. Since we're talking about channels. 1990 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
What's up, Scotty? It's KJ.
What's up, KJ?
Hey. So I haven't called in a while, but so just two quick things real quick.
Go ahead.
Like, to me, it's just kind of funny conversation for other schools to be salivating and kind of worrying about what JSU is going to do in the event or when Prime leaves, and they're less concerned about what their programs are doing right now. Alcorn, Southern, you both have had seasons where you need to retool some stuff regardless of whether Prime is in the SWAC or not. Neither of you are impressive. Like, what you've done, you have not stepped up at all when it comes to your social media. Like, you've done nothing to try to catch up to what JSU is actually doing, and you show no evidence that you have learned your lesson yet. So what are you going to do if Prime stays or if he leaves? That's really what y'all need to be figuring out, is what your institutions are going to do. JSU had figured out what we were going to do by hiring Prime. That was that move. That was innovative. If Prime is to leave, and when Prime leaves, we will figure that out then. There have already been contingency conversations and contingency plans in place, and yes, I do know that. So I don't understand why we're having conversation as if you people in the chat know more than the leaders at our institution. I really don't understand where you all are coming from with any of it, and I think you're weird, and I think you're foul. But
okay.
Worry about your own institution and what you have going on. Worry about being competitive.
I gotta push back.
Instead of praying for JSU's downfall and demise. Why don't you step up and stop being weak and try to compete your damn self? Why don't you all do that? One other comment about the Timona situation. Now, I do have to defend this because I haven't said much about it. The one thing, and this happens to me in the chat as a woman, whenever a woman says something or we get a little bit spicy in the chat, you have some of you lovely gentlemen in the chat that would never say that to our face come after our womanhood, talking about being able to keep a man or are we single or something like that. Scotty, you made that one mistake in your conversation with Timona when you all got a little back and forth and everything. I recall you mentioning one thing about that's why you can't keep a man, you can't do this, that, and the other. That is what happened with the sexist conversation. It wasn't me who made that comment. It wasn't me who came after you, because I saw it and saw what happened and saw that it was tense. But that was the thing that I think maybe some of the female followers who were here pointed out, because we get that whack shit in these football chats all the time when half of you couldn't pull the women that are in these chats.
That's fair.
So
hey,
I just wanted to say that.
I gotta push back on you just a little bit, right? My issue is
this
is my issue with HBCU fans. Like, you guys take the institution and you guys put it in front of sports, right? I'm a Cowboys fan, right? If the Redskins were going through turmoil, I enjoy that. I hope you lose your head coach. I hope you lose your best player. I hope that's how that is sports all across the board. If I'm a Lakers fan, right, and the Celtics lose their or Steph Curry goes down, I'm like, hell yeah, now we got a chance to win. Like, if Steve Kerr gets taken by another, if Kevin Durant gets traded, there is when you're talking about sports, there is a small factor. I don't give a damn about if it's Southern, Alcorn. There is a small faction in them, sports-wise, that are going to love to see Jackson State's demise. That is what it is. Institutionally, nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants HBCUs to win. But sports-wise, you guys have to understand, and if I'm feuding with you, I don't want to see the best for you. I don't. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. That's how sports are.
I've been watching sports a long time, and I understand it. I'm an SEC football fan. I've been an SEC football fan my entire life. Big college sports aficionado. So I understand that and I understand fandom, but I also understand that these Negroes know it's a different when you're talking about HBCUs. They are not sitting there. This is not just based on sports. You can tell by some of the comments. Some of y'all are just crab in the barrel ass Negroes that are just upset that it's not your institution that it is happening for. I had to get into it at a watch party. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there, SU, with your fans. But y'all, they know better. They know, as HBCU supporters and HBCU alums, they know the connotations on what it is they're speaking. They know it's not just about football. This is some crab in the barrel type bullshit, and I will not get off of that. So y'all can say whatever you want to say, but it is what it is, and we see you. And I would never wish ill on anything dealing with your university if it was a bigger picture like what's happening at JSU. This ain't about the SWAC. This ain't even fully about Jackson State. This shit is going to be case studied eventually. Black power building and taking something back from an institutional standpoint. And you idiots are on here talking about, I can't stand for Deion. I can't wait for him to leave y'all so y'all can be humble. Humble these nuts. Anyway, y'all have to go.
I appreciate it, KJ. And humble these nuts. That's funny. Hey, guys, listen, I got something to do in about 6 minutes, so I got to shut the call lines down. I appreciate everybody for calling in, though. Real talk.
Goodbye.
All right. But listen, I'm always going to disagree with that because, listen, man, nobody wants to be the butt of somebody's joke. I don't give a damn how good or whatever you want to talk about. Nobody wants to be the butt of somebody's joke. So when Deion leaves or if Deion leaves, man, listen, Jackson State, just know y'all going to be at the bottom of the totem pole getting all the dribble of rain that falls on y'all. It just is what it is. That's the sports landscape. That's sports life. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're dealing in sports. It is a crab. Listen, sports is a crab in the barrel bucket. Right? That's what sports is. Sports, my team sucks. I don't want your team to be good. Everybody feels that way in sports. You guys keep thinking of it in institution. Oh, my school. No, it is sports, right? If the Cowboys are last place in the NFC East, I want everybody to miss the playoffs. I want everybody to miss the playoffs. If your rival is in the Super Bowl, I want them to lose. I was rooting against the Giants every time they were in the Super Bowl. That is sports. I was rooting against the 49ers. Why? Because we have 5 Super Bowls and they have 5 Super Bowls. I ain't want them to get 6. I was rooting against the Steelers because when they got 6. Listen, that is a sports landscape. Nobody wants somebody else's team to do well. All right? Nobody wants that. You guys keep talking about, oh my God, HBCU. Hey, they don't have shit to do with your institution. It's a sports landscape. You don't know how to distinguish the two. That's on you. But if somebody calls in from Southern and says, I hope Deion leaves, they have every right to. I would. If I was an Alcorn grad, I'd be like, I can't wait. Man, listen, it'll be like the little kid that got the big brother. I can't wait till I catch you one-on-one. Wait till I catch you outside without your big brother. I'm going to whoop your ass. And Deion's your big brother right now. It's okay. It's cool. It's okay. It's cool. Check your jank. Rock what you rock with. You know what I'm saying? Somebody sent me a question that said, is Shador starting at Auburn if Deion leaves? Absolutely. Because Deion's there. Absolutely Deion's starting. That's not even a question. Deion's starting. It's Deion's son. And he has the accolades to back it up. Well, I mean, what you gonna do? So that's an easy question. Hey, that ain't hard. All right, guys, listen, I gotta go. Hey, man, but appreciate the time. Until next time, you know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna holler. God bless.